What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Asmi Hongos, and today we're going to be reviewing a product that I, as an Apple fanboy, couldn't even defend at the beginning of its launch. It was overpriced, the stand didn't tilt, and it had a terrible quality webcam. The best way to describe this monitor to 90% of people is a room temperature soda on a hot day. And with that, let's get started with the review. The one thing that Apple doesn't mention, and I want to save you a huge headache, is that the serial number is at the bottom of the stand. No, it is not built into the software. You cannot go into it. And if you've had this beautiful setup like I did, and you're looking for the serial number like I was, do yourself a huge favor, as I would like to have done to my past self. Write down the serial number, take a photo of it before it's even placed on a desk. Okay, I saved you a headache, hopefully. Maybe not, probably not. I think I'm a huge fan of the design. It's very minimalistic, and for me personally, I also have a lot of black and white going on with my desk, so it fits in really, really well. And that's what I actually wanted. I didn't want like this over-the-top design with a bunch of fans in the background or even a curve. I was thinking of a curved display for a very long time, but 27 inches feels like the right amount just for me. And the stand, even though I complain about it and I think it adds to the price point, it is beautifully designed. The first time I touched it, I was like, this is really well built, like angle to angle. It looks absolutely amazing, and it's just a really nice place to put your external hard drives on. The speakers at the top actually blew my mind. One of my goals was to have less things on my desk, which meant that I had to sacrifice my regular speakers. And for a second, I was a little bit worried, but they really have proven their point, and these speakers sound fantastic all across the board. The best experience to me, as you probably know, is Dolby Atmos. Like, listening to your favorite albums on here is a really great experience, and there were moments where I just sat here like listening to some of my favorite albums, just absorbing the music in a different way. Apple designed this cord to stay inside the monitor. The company that designed a whole new power system for the iMac didn't put it in the studio display, and it really drives me crazy. And this is a big thing if you have dogs or kids. Now, mine is against the wall for that reason, so that nobody trips and hopefully nothing ever chews on it. But I just think about anyone in an open area and someone is bound to trip and just yank the monitor with them, because it is extremely tough to get it out. I didn't even want to try it. There's plenty of videos out there. I want to keep a focus on the one Thunderbolt and 3 USB-C ports in the back. This is like the stuff that I really love, that I only need one cable to power my entire desk. This is the whole Apple magic, right? I only need to have one cord connected to the display powers the computer, and it works very well, like the way of water or whatever, and makes my desk look very, very minimal. It's the whole aesthetic that I kind of fell for. I want to focus a little on transfer speeds and hard drives, because I don't feel like a lot of reviews have talked about this. My goal was to keep this little CF Express Type B dongle connected to the back of the monitor. However, when I first transferred like large 4K files onto my computer and external hard drives, it was just a complete mess. It took freaking forever to get anything from the CF Express card. So I would always have to use the built-in USB-C ports. Second, with external hard drives, whenever I was editing a big project, like something in Premiere, it actually did stuff pretty well. There was absolutely no lag and very little drop frames. So I was actually pretty impressed with the monitor in the back keeping up with those speeds. However, when I ejected the hard drive and even turned off the laptop itself and disconnected the laptop, sometimes when I would go to sleep, the hard drive would continue to spin for hours and hours, and I'm pretty sure that's not healthy for any hard drive's health. Number 3, this just happened to me today before I was going to shoot this video, is that I had the monitor connected to the laptop to the external hard drive. I accidentally yanked the cable from the studio display, and all the files went missing on the laptop. Luckily, the project was already done and it was retrievable, but just something that I need to keep in the back of my head now, knowing this display and its quirks. In terms of The display itself though, like the color accuracy, it's absolutely beautiful. Like there's no display that I can really compare it to. I thought that I was gonna buy a cheaper display and go out there and get this thing called the Spider, which helps me calibrate the monitor, and I was gonna go and do this and do that and this, and that's not gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. For me to have such a color accurate display out of the box is just really, really amazing. And for anyone that's purchasing the display, I would take this into consideration, like how important is color calibration to you and the lack of 120 gigahertz. Now, I do hear the tech community, and I can completely understand why they would want 120 gigahertz. It is, at this price point, they definitely should have. To me though, the experience was not shattered. Nothing really changed in any formats. And I think for most people, unless they are big techies, they're not really going to notice it. From time to time though, I do realize that the MacBook display is much better than the Studio display in terms of color and brightness. The cheapest option for the Studio display is also the glossy version. And I really don't have any regrets about it. From my experience, even when the sun hits the display, I really don't feel any interruption, and it handles the light pretty well. Even as I'm shooting right now and there's a giant softbox hitting the display, I can see all the letters and coloring very, very well. The biggest concern for me, as I think for most people though, when purchasing this display was the tilt stand. Yes, Apple charges you so that you can move the display up and down. I would say that I'm a fairly tall person, and this is where I can't defend Apple. I just can't see a justification to charge the customer extra so they can move their display up and down. Luckily, it was not a huge concern as I bought this little IKEA desk thing and it lifted the display up to eye level. If you have the same concern, I would just recommend getting this little tabletop so that the display can be at eye level, and it will literally save you a lot of money. The webcam is 1080. It's absolutely atrocious. I don't know what was going through the Apple supply chain and designer's head when they decided to put that in here. This is the recording and sound that comes from the display itself. And this thing has an A13 Bionic chip in it. Also, it's really weird that I'm having to have a software upgrade for my monitor. That was really strange to do. I did that for the first time when I got the Studio display. However, I am conflicted because Center Stage is actually really, really good, and I wish more of the products had it. It's not 100% accurate, but it does a pretty good job, and I think it's only getting better. Then lastly, and the big elephant in the room, is the price. I would just say for 90% of people, they will be very happy with any 4K display out on the market. Like there's 4K displays that are like $500. You will be very happy. If you're working on Microsoft Excel, you're doing Word docs, you're just watching YouTube's, 100% overkill. Because it is pretty nice, but you will have to sell your firstborn child to get it. For the 10% of the people, the creatives, I think this is pretty worth it. And this is where I go into my personal reason as to why I'm keeping the display. Number one, and I think this for any product, it just works. You don't know how many times I plugged into a second monitor while I'm at school or I'm at work, and I have to like crack the DaVinci Code in order to make sure that it looks proper. Make sure that the sizing looks nice and the lettering is good and the colors look accurate. It is a huge pain in the butt. And talking about colors, and this is where we all probably lie to ourselves saying that we're gonna go out there and get color calibrating software and learn the art of color calibration. And that's just a giant lie we tell ourselves. But I don't have to live with that lie anymore because the display literally takes that weight off my shoulders. And lastly, longevity. This is a pretty big investment. And I think previously there might have been like 10 or 12 years before Apple decided to create the display, excluding the XDR for consumers. I just see this being out for a very, very long time. The resale value will be great in case I ever want to sell the monitor again. I know that the market will always be in demand for something like this. And so those are my big reasons why I'm keeping the monitor. Some things that I liked, some things I didn't like. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. And as always, I thank you so much for your time and your attention. My name is Asmi Hongos, and I'll catch you in the next one.